Salutations, everybody. Giagwitch, and welcome to my WrestleMania 41. WrestleMania Las Vegas predictions. I've been a wrestling fan for many a year, and I figured it's about time that I end up giving my predictions on what I think is going to end up happening at this year's WrestleMania. So how am I going to do this? I'm going to give a brief description of my feelings towards the rivalries, the feuds, the matches that we end up talking about. Then I'm going to say what I want to happen, what I plead, what I would love to end up happening, what I would do if I was the booker. In some cases, because the way things have previously been booked, what I want wouldn't make sense. But hey, I'm African free. And then I'm going to give my opinion on what I actually think will end up happening, what will happen. So, where to start? Well, I suppose you start on Saturday, night one of WrestleMania. And there's nothing bigger to start with than the main event of the show. Yes, the triple threat match extravaganza of the Second City Saint, the best in the world, CM Punk, the visionary Seth freaking Rollins, and the tribal chief Roman Reigns fighting for one of the greatest honors the WWE has ever had to give. Yes, they're fighting for the heart of one Paul ECW Heyman. Now, before I get into my opinion, please allow me to say, go on to the WWE YouTube channel and watch the hype package for this match. It is a piece of mastery. And that tells you everything you need to know about this match, because this is the best built match of both nights of this show. I'll die in this hill. It is of my opinion that Seth Rollins is the man that needs this win. CM Punk can do without it. Roman Reigns can do without it. I think Seth Rollins needs this win. Here's the rub. It'll depend on what happens in the main event of night 2, whether or not WWE have the gumption to do what I think is necessary for this particular matchup. But hey, that's the joys of giving a prediction, of giving a want, of giving a goal. So what is it that I want to happen? Well, I want Seth Rollins to win. I want him to leave with Paul Heyman into the wind as a new power couple in WWE. Take the pinfall away from CM Punk after Paul Heyman screws him. Turn the dial down, make it Seth Rollins back into the vicious narcissist he was before, with Paul Heyman by his side, developing the visionary into the saint. But what do I think actually will end up happening? I think they'll give it to CM Punk. I think he'll win his main event at WrestleMania. I think he'll leave with Paul Heyman and reignite one of the greatest power couples WWE has ever seen. And I think the reason why it will happen is because Seth Rollins will do a Roman Reigns. Seth Rollins will be hyper-focused on Roman Reigns and let the rivalry overtake him. He'll go for that third chair shot, another one into the back of Roman Reigns. Ultimately, this will cost him. Ultimately, this will lead to CM Punk capitalizing, and it builds towards the inevitable Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins match that'll probably end it all. That's what I see will end up happening. But who knows? Anything can happen at WrestleMania. So what's next? Well, it's the match that should be the main event. The WWE World Heavyweight Championship match. Jey Uso, main event, versus the Ring General, Gunther. In my opinion, this match is a farce. It shouldn't be happening. And the way they've went to build this match is even worse. This is their 4th time facing each other. And Jey Uso, winner of the Royal Rumble, outlaster of 29 other men, is going into this match timid. Going into this match afraid. I watched the WWE hype video that they have ready for this match. And it starts off like the opening to WWE, Here Comes the Pain, I believe, where you're standing in front, looking at the legend you will soon become, wanting to be an icon of the industry. But you're questioning whether or not you're able to do it. Jey Uso's questioning whether or not he has the ability to do this. They've built his brother Jimmy than they've built him. But have you noticed a distinct problem in what I'm saying here? That I haven't mentioned Gunther. The actual champion. Gunther is a monster. Gunther is everything a wrestler wants to be. Much like someone else will mention later on, that is the linchpin that every future wrestler should follow and attain to be. Gunther has been made make look like a monster once, and that one time was fantastic. But the problem is, Jey Uso is one of WWE's best merch sellers. They know that he is liked by the nation, he's liked by the youths, and I think they're going to end up going with the heart on the nation. So what is it that I want to happen? Well, I want Gunther to wallop 10 shades of crap out of Jey Uso. But then he makes a mistake in his hubris, in his avarice, in his ring general nationness. Uso comes back, hits a spear, hits a super kick, goes for a splash, and Jimmy comes out and stops him. Yeah, replay the Uso feud, the brothers against brothers. Who cares? Jey isn't the man that Jimmy wants him to be and doesn't believe that he's ready for it. So Jimmy screws him. Gunther goes for a triple powerbomb and still your world champion. Gives him more of an aura to himself. Gives him a chance to make this run proper and good. But what do I think will happen? Well, what will happen is Gunther will wallop 10 shades of crap out of Jey Uso. He'll make a mistake. Jey Uso will spear him. He'll super kick him. He'll go for the Uso splash, and my God, hit it. And the ref will count 3. And Jey Uso will be the new WWE World Heavyweight Champion, the winner of the Royal Rumble. Speaking of such, the next match is the WWE Women's Championship. Charlotte Flair versus Tiffany Stratton. God, doesn't this Rumble feel like a waste this year. Charlotte Flair did not need the Rumble for this. You easily could have given it to Bianca Belair. You easily could have given it to Io Sky. Back before she was champion. Charlotte Flair didn't need this. And what's worse is Charlotte Flair is Flair. And that means that she is showcased as one of the most powerful, dominant, clever athletes that WWE ends up having. She is the queen for a reason and holds herself as such. But hasn't held herself in the highest regard since coming back. She hasn't amplified this feud to a 10, but she's tried. But what she's working with is a novice who doesn't feel like a proper champion yet in Tiffany Stratton. But this could be what makes Tiffany Stratton. I mean, the two of them went for the punches in their promo on SmackDown. They supposedly went for the shoot, if you believe that. But either way, what does this end up meaning? Well, what I want to happen is that Charlotte wallops 10 shades of crap out of Tiffany Stratton. But she makes a mistake. Tiffany starts to make a comeback. But previously in the match, Charlotte, with some frustration, had taken off the turnbuckle sends Charlotte into the turnbuckle. Prettiest moonsault, 1, 2, 3, gives her a win, but something to build upon because it wasn't 100% hers. Continue this rivalry past Mania. I know it's weird to do so, but it's been done before. Do it again. Continue with Charlotte and Tiffany, and maybe give Charlotte the win somewhere else. But I think Tiffany needs this win. But what I think will happen is Charlotte wins. The two of them have a fine display. Tiffany, unfortunately, will probably make 1 or 2 mistakes. She is still a little green. But ultimately, Charlotte Flair will end up winning with her moonsault. That is actually the prettiest moonsault. And becomes the new champion. But speaking of champions, we have the next one, which is the United States Championship. LA Knight, the megastar, versus the Samoan werewolf, Jacob Fatu. You begin to notice a trend with all of these matches. I think night 1 is set up for all the monsters to be showcased up, all of the dominant ones to be showcased up. But funnily enough, even though Jacob Fatu should be a monster in this particular case, I think the megastar will quell him a bit. Yes, his fire isn't as sparked as it once was this year. Well, 2024. But LA Knight is the champion for a reason. Jacob Fatu is the future for the Samoan dynasty. So what do I want to happen? Well, I want Jacob Fatu to wallop 10 shades of crap out of LA Knight. But not like Gunther, and not like Charlotte. I want him to do it like John Cena versus Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam. I want him to do that, and then win. LA Knight doesn't come back into it. The spark does in fact die, and the Samoan werewolf stands as the only Samoan to win at WrestleMania. However, I'm going to cheat, and I'm going to do what I want to happen to Electric Boogaloo. Because what I actually think might end up happening is that Jacob Fatu, and kind of want to end up happening as well, is that Jacob and LA have a competitive match. With the commentators putting over how surprising it is that Jacob has been contained so well. But LA makes a mistake. Jacob, about to seal the deal, goes for some combination of attack when Solo Sikoa comes down the aisle. Solo Sikoa interferes. Ultimately, this causes LA Knight to retain the championship, and as a result of which it leads to Jacob Fatu declaring a warpath on all of the members of the bloodline, and none of them can be trusted. But what I actually think will end up happening is that Jacob Fatu and LA Knight will have a competitive matchup. Solo will interfere. Jacob will lose his collective crap. LA Knight will capitalize. LA Knight will win. LA Knight will retain. And then they continue the slow brew of Jacob Fatu's turn on the bloodline. They won't make the dagger into the abdomen tonight, but they'll certainly twist it. So what's next after that? Well, what's next after that is a match I believe shouldn't be on the card. The WWE World Tag Team Championships, the New Day versus the War Raiders. Of no fault of their own, both of these teams are blander than stale bread. To no fault of their own, these teams just don't feel like they match up to the rest of the card, and I don't envy the task of writing tag team wrestling. In all of my years at home, at my own, not actually, running anything, pretending to run on WWE games or Pro Wrestling Simulator divisions, tag team wrestling has always been difficult because you have two people, each need to be their own person. But hey, who knows what ends up happening there? That's why Triple H is paid the big bucks, but he's never been good at tag team wrestling. So what's my point? Well, my point is that what I want to happen in this match is that they have a competitive match because they're well capable of having a good one. But Eric will end up isolating Kofi Kingston. Himself and Ivar will hit the Viking experience. Xavier Woods, noticing that he's about to get his ass handed to him if he stops the count, abandons Xavier in the middle of the ring. And the War Raiders retain. But what will probably happen is they'll have a competitive matchup. They'll hit the Viking experience on Kofi. Xavier goes for the save, and then they hit it on him, stack him, and pin him. And then they retain. Either way, I don't see the New Day winning this particular contest. And I feel sorry for the poor boys, because they're going for cheap heat at the moment. There's no real reason for them to be annoyed. There's no real reason for them to be pissy. Unfortunately, Big E Langston isn't here for them to do stuff. So, let the War Raiders continue on as the champions. Send them on into the division to face better competition, like American Made, the LWO, if they can get out of their own way. Los Lotarios can get out of their own way, and potentially some of the tag teams from NXT. But to go from a match that I genuinely question why it's there to a match that I think is the second most interesting in all of this card. Yes, I'm talking about Jade Cargill versus one Naomi. This, to me, is fascinating, because this match depends on how much Jade Cargill has improved. He came from AEW, and the supposed grapevine is that in the years that she was there, her skills weren't up to snuff. Every time I've seen her in the ring, she's looked impressive. But impressive enough to hold a 20-minute match? Well, with a dance partner like Naomi, Trinity Fatu, maybe she can. Naomi's one of the best in-ring technicians there is. Unfortunately, it's just the character that has always been an issue for Naomi. But this bad streak that she's going on, although lapsing proper reasoning, is interesting. So how would I end up going about it? Well, what I want to happen is that they have a competitive contest. And at one point in time, Jade Cargill, well, she's not able to keep up with Naomi. And as a result of which, accidentally sends Naomi into the referee in a moment of hesitation, in a moment of reprieve. This referee bump then leads to Jade Cargill switching and absolutely laying out Naomi until eventually the referee comes back alive and takes the pinfall. Jade Cargill, your victor. But what I think will end up happening is actually exactly the same. I think they'll end up doing that. It's the one time where I think what I want to happen is what will actually happen. I can't see Naomi winning this match. Maybe if they want to continue the rivalry later on, she does a roll-up or something like that. But this is Jade Cargill's first WrestleMania. I can't see her losing it. Much like another superstar's first WrestleMania. Yes, I am talking about the greatest luchador of all time. El Grande Americano versus the deadbeat dad of the WWE, Rey Mysterio. A battle of greatness. Rey finally being able to go up against an icon of the industry in El Grande Americano, previously hailed from the Gulf of America, now the Gulf of Mexico, because WWE lost their cojones. I am extremely excited about this match, although I do feel sorry for one Chad Gable, who doesn't get a WrestleMania moment this year. But what do I think will end up happening? Well, El Grande Americano has a competitive match with Rey Mysterio. But at one point in time, Rey Mysterio ends up knocking El Grande Americano down, and the referee alongside them. When that ends up happening, the LWO comes down the ramp, referee out. But in order to stop them, American Made come down the ramp, but LWO stopped them. Within this period of time, El Grande ends up converting himself over to Chad Gable. He lays out Rey Mysterio, but Chad Gable runs for the hills. El Grande comes back into the ring. El Grande ends up hitting a shooting star press into an ankle lock and submits Rey Mysterio. I think El Grande Americano as a gimmick has legs, so I think he should end up winning. But what I think will end up happening is El Grande Americano will have a competitive match with Rey Mysterio with LWO and American Made at ringside. At one point in time, they try to interfere. That interference causes a tussle to happen between Rey Mysterio and El Grande Americano. The mask ends up coming off. Chad Gable is revealed. Shock! Who knew? Then Rey Mysterio ends up dropping the dime and connects with the 619. 1, 2, 3. Chad Gable is vanquished. El Grande Americano is no more. And we continue on with the knowledge that Rey Mysterio is indeed a dead beat dad. But what is next? Well, would you believe that's all of night one? Yeah, that's all of night one. 20 minutes in, all of night one. Surely we take a break. No, what would be the point in that? We go straight in to Sunday, night 2 of WrestleMania. And what better match to start off with than a match I am thrilled is going to happen. 3 hosses of the industry, to use a good old JR term, in Io Sky, Bianca Belair, and Rhea Bloody Ripley. This match has the potential to be the best of every match of the card, and it hurts me because every single member of this match deserves the win. Rhea Ripley is a phenomenal talent. Bianca Belair, a future and a WWID winner. You can use it as a progression to continue on with that. And Io Sky, one of the best in the industry and a prime example of foreign talent being used right. The biggest problem I have with this build-up is the fact that Io Sky feels like a second nature in her own feud, in her own championship defense. It's the reason why this would be better if she was the Royal Rumble winner. But she's the champion. But will she remain the champion? But what I want to happen is the match, for most of the runtime, is a one-on-one between Bianca and Rhea Ripley. They isolate Io Sky. They take her out of the equation. The two of them have the match they've been wanting to have for the last couple of years. However, towards the end, Io starts coming back. In fact, she ends up controlling the match. She uses the damage that Bianca and Rhea have done to each other to take opportunities, striking them down. Ultimately, she ends up taking a situation and knocks both of them down, but chooses Bianca as the option and takes out Bianca, retaining the championship. This allows Bianca to be upset. This allows for a continuance of either this rivalry or Bianca's tweenish turn into a heel persona. But what do I think will end up happening? Well, I think it'll be a hectic barn burner. This will be the showcase of showcases that they'll try to end up doing. It'll be Io Sky as every little guy in every single one of these type of matches, doing everything they can to control and demolish the two big ones. At one point in time, she'll snap with Bianca, which will lead to an opportunity for Rhea, who will lay both of them out and pin Io Sky. I think Rhea Ripley becomes your new world champion. Bianca will blame Io. Io will end up trying to get a rematch. Bianca and Io will face off against each other in a feud. And then eventually, it'll be Bianca versus Rhea Ripley at SummerSlam. Unfortunately, I don't see Io Sky making it out of WrestleMania with the champion. But maybe Rhea Ripley's former friend. Maybe it'll be a different story for this match. The WWE Women's Tag Team Championships, the better of the Tag Team Championship matches, in my opinion, has an actual build, has an actual suspension, has an actual situation that everyone can read like a book. What's going to happen here? Is it time for Raquel to end up standing on her own and vanquishing Liv Morgan? Is it time for Bayley to get the backbone she needs? Is it time for Lyra Valkyria, the Intercontinental Women's Champion, I might add, to end up giving a good showcase of herself? Who knows? We'll see. But all I know is that what I want to happen is a good match. But eventually, Lyra Valkyria isolates Liv Morgan and starts to end up putting everything together. But then Bayley, on the edge, notices that Lyra is about to get the victory and tags herself in. Lyra and Bayley start arguing with each other until eventually Bayley just lays Lyra out, leading to Liv Morgan getting the pin, retaining, and Bayley becoming the heel again, because heel Bayley is the Bayley we want. But what I think will end up happening is that a good match will happen. Raquel gets taken out by Bayley or Lyra, and just as they are about to end up getting the win, Raquel will end up getting a tag on Liv Morgan that either, whichever one is in, will end up thinking themselves the better. Liv Morgan will roll them up, pick up the victory, and that will lead to a Bayley-Lyra feud coming up to it. Unfortunately, I don't see them being too creative on this. I don't actually think they'll do the turn at WrestleMania, even though I think either Lyra or Bayley should turn, because both of them need the character change. But hey, talking about characters, let's talk about this match. The WWE Intercontinental Championship Fatal 4-Way match, and would you believe, this year it isn't a ladder match. Heavens forbid, I'm shocked as well. It's a multi-man match, but hey, you can't have everything. In my opinion, this might be the best written championship match on the entire card. Bron has looked like a monster. Bron has looked like a king. That spear alone will be written in the annals of history. Penta has been everything WWE has wanted him to be. He is the luchador supreme that they've been looking for. Dominik Mysterio is the future. At the ripe old age of, 29, I think? Dominik has everything to go for, even though the flame that he had has extinguished a bit. And Finn Bálor, well, the Adonis has a chance to do something interesting. So what do I think? Well, I think Bron Breakker will end up getting the shine here. Showcase why he is everything that a wrestler should want to be. Penta will have a couple of wild moments, but ultimately what will end up happening is that they'll end up getting ahead of themselves. Penta will end up taking out Bron Breakker, and Dominik Mysterio will come out of it and ends up setting it up that he's about to get the surprise win. He takes out Penta and is about to get the victory when Finn Bálor comes in, 1916s him, or whatever the name of that finisher is, and he pins Dominik Mysterio, your new Intercontinental Champion. Finn Bálor and the separation of the Judgment Day begins again. What I think will end up happening is that Bron will end up getting the shine. Penta will have his wild moments. Dominik is about to win. The crowd goes wild. Finn screws him. But as Finn is about to end up getting the pin, Penta actually comes back out of nowhere, lays it down on Finn Bálor, and Penta becomes your new Intercontinental Champion, because I don't think they're going to beat him in their first WrestleMania. They have been looking for their Latin Mexican star, their next Rey Mysterio, for years, and I think they know, even though he's in his late 30s, that Penta could be that star. Personally, for me, I'd hedge my bets on Dominik Mysterio. But who knows, this feud, this change, the turn of Finn Balor to the tweener of Dominik Mysterio, that could end up working for them. I think they'll give it to Penta, but I want to give it to Finn. But of course, it wouldn't be WrestleMania without a named matchup. And of course, that matchup is none other than the Sin City Street Fight between Damian Priest and the Scottish Warrior psychopath Drew McIntyre. There's always one of these on these shows. Now, what I find funny about this one is that it's a little over a year ago since Damian Priest took the World Heavyweight Championship from Drew McIntyre in about 5 minutes. I'm surprised it wasn't a bigger aspect of this feud, if I'm frank. But both of these men need this particular fight. Both of these men need this particular win, which is kind of unfortunate for them. It's kind of in this one of situation where I wish they had different matches apiece, because both of them could really do with the win. As a result of which, how do I see this going? Well, what I want to happen is that both men knock 10 shades of crap out of each other. They battle themselves around the arena. They battle themselves around the ring. Damian focuses on Drew McIntyre's eye, because although McIntyre said he was 100%, he isn't. He was lying. He was fibbing. He is actually still injured in that eye. But he hyper-focuses on it, and within that opportunity, Drew McIntyre seizes an exposed flooring or something like that. If he was still to use it, does a future shock DDT, knocks him onto the exposed floor, eventually putting him back into the ring, considering they haven't said it's a false count anywhere. And then eventually leads to a Claymore, which ends up getting Drew McIntyre the victory. This will be important for later on, so that's the reason why I'm going for it. However, what I think will happen is that they will knock 10 shades of crap out of each other. They will go around the ring. However, Drew, once he gets some actual grasp on the match, he'll become overzealous in his control. Damian will counter, hit a South of Heaven chokeslam, probably on a load of chairs, maybe through a table, something of that distinction, and your winner will in fact be Damian Priest, who unfortunately I think needs the victory more than Drew McIntyre. And I genuinely mean it with this one. A contest of athletes, or as Cartman would say in South Park, athletes. Yes, it's Logan Paul versus AJ Styles. AJ seems to be back at full steam. However, I believe this might be his last run. And even though he isn't saying it, Logan is a star. He's only 29 years of age. And has an insanely bright future if he actually plans to stay in wrestling. This could be the match of the night. This could be match of the year if they play their cards right. And I'm sure Logan wants that too. He wants the clips. He wants to be known for the granddaddy of them all. So what do I want to happen in this match? I want the two of them to hog each other out. I want them to go the nines. I want them to continue at each other, go at speed. However, at one particular point in time, AJ starts to wane. He starts to falter. He starts to slow down. The age is getting to him. Logan catches him off guard and picks up the victory. You can see the worry in AJ Styles' eyes. You can see the clock is ticking. And I start the decline of AJ Styles. Into madness. Into do I have this anymore? That's what I would do. What do I think will end up happening? The two of them will go wild. Ultimately, Logan will make a mistake. AJ will capitalize, probably from Logan doing a top rope move into a Styles clash, and AJ Styles will pick up the victory. Because at some point in time, I think AJ Styles, WWE are going to use him. Especially if the advertisements for John Cena are wrong. AJ Styles might be used for something like Clash in Paris. When we end up seeing this match. For the WWE Championship, the undisputed championship, Cody Rhodes versus John Cena. Yes, this is the rabbit in the hat of WrestleMania because A, we don't know all the elements involved in play or in production, and B, are WWE okay with ending this show with a bad ending? Or even the obvious one? Does The Rock get involved? Does Papa Dwayne come down? Does Travis Scott get involved? How does heel Cena change his moveset? We haven't seen it yet. Does he become more active? Does he do more Does he enjoy life? Let's end up seeing. But what I want to happen is that Cody and Cena lock up with each other. Cena will match Cody move for move. Any move Cody does, Cena will do. Any move Cena will do, Cody will do. The two of them try to show off as each other. Cena tries to go with the idea that anything you can do, I can do better. However, as much as Cena tries, he's not able to do what Cody is doing. Ultimately, he feels it slipping. He feels the chance going through his fingertips, and he calls for Dwayne. The Rock's music hits. He comes out. Cody, not able to hide the animosity towards The Rock and what he's done, aims directly towards him. He turns back around. Cena about to cheap shot him, but he does a crossroads, aims directly back at The Rock. Still annoyed at the loss from last year. He turns to The Rock. The Rock taunts him, and at that particular moment in time, The Rock says, "Turn around." When Drew McIntyre comes back into the ring and claymores Cody, throws Cena on top of Cody, wakes up Charles Robinson, because of course it's Charles Robinson, which other referee would it be? And your new WWE champion will be none other than John Felix Cena, or whatever his second name is. All four of them walk out, Cena, Rock, Travis, McIntyre, with questions to be asked and answers to be demanded. But what will happen? Who knows? Let's find out on night 2 of WrestleMania. But heavens to bet, my bill of money is on John Cena. There is one more match that could end up happening. We don't know too much about it yet. Unfortunately, it hasn't been properly advertised yet, but I would assume that at one point in time, probably on night 2, Randy Orton will end up getting a match, and heaven forbid who he ends up facing. But Randy always deserves a WrestleMania moment, so I'll be enjoying to see it. Either way, I'm looking forward to this WrestleMania, and I hope you're looking forward to it too. Please, let me know your predictions in the comments section below. Like, comment, and subscribe. Anything you end up thinking, please, let's continue this conversation. The crack is always 90 here. We always want to attack it. It has been an absolute pleasure, and thank you for listening to use the old words of Jerry the King Lawler, diarrhea of the mouth and constipation of the brain. So with that being said, allow me to go and say, make sure your crack is 90. So long, you fool. And for those of you who know it, Mahone.